Hey guys, how are you? Crypto Sniper coming at you, and we are looking at the Bitcoin market. Across two platforms, took around 28 grand out of this little baby, and it's just a little tidlow on the 30-minute level. You could be doing this too, by the way. Book for a call in the link below. Down, do it. You can change your life. This is the year. It's the beginning of the year. Get on it. Anyway, this is what happened. Minute 30, fractal of an HVF. The key things that are a little bit interesting that I'll highlight to you, the actual target side and the risk reward dynamics, which was around 6.2 all aside. There's also this level line over here, which was leading edge of the channel on a much bigger time frame. I'll illustrate that when we go back out. But just to give that to you, that was your little move. You could have had it. We were doing a little bit of brainstorming in the community last night, watching this. Had a good wine, passed out in the couch, went to bed, and then the good news was there for us in the morning. That's what you can do if you know what you're doing and how to do it. And we were having a look at it. We considered it from all angles. But let's just get the context of Bitcoin and what it's done, and let's go out to a bigger time frame. So you know, first of all, that it is now made high, although it has gone a little bit shooting star-esque there. This is not super strong, guys. This is a shoot and scoot trade for me. I am investment long, but I'm not comfortable with being leverage long on an open-ended basis. So it's very much a shoot and scoot environment for me. I want to just show you the channel that's been in existence for a while. We expected over here when it was winding up that we would get a lower channel revisit. We didn't expect the spike. I don't think too many people did. Pretty brutal. And then you got a follow-up visit to the low end. Then you've been peeling away from the channel, and the volatility's been dropping and going kind of low here, there and there. So you have two versions of inverted head and shoulder. I did a conservative draw there with the 7,500, and I did a slightly more aggressive draw with a 7,600, and you come out with targets roughly at, wait for it, go away, 8,500 and 8,720 on the two draws. So those two purple numbers there are your targets, and it's those two lines, that one there and that one there. Those are your inverted head and shoulders. Now the conservative draw has already been made, but the point that's slightly significant in all of this, and the reason why we were interested in taking this, is that it looked like it was winding up to get past the structural level that has been endorsed quite a few times in NAMED. Let me just say, you can see it there. And then on the lower side, so it's quite a well-established channel. So it's a big moment from that point of view. But I can say, don't view it too all-encompassing. This is not going to be a screamer of a bull. The volume is low. These are the points you do need to notice. The volume is low. Hey, let's draw a big pen, shall we? Let's make that go away and start again. The volume here is low. Yes, it started fairly nicely, moderate amounts, but you've got to bear this in mind in consideration. These levels, it's low, so it's crawled out, and what that means is it's worming its way up. This is not going to be plain sailing. You chase in your high, you can have quite easily a return move both to the channel, and you could slip along the channel. You could have a return move back into the channel onto this grind line that we'd identified before. and then up. You could even break the grind line and get back in for a while before going down. None of those things have been totally removed, but having said all that, we're still bias bull. So we're investment long and have been for a bit now since the triggering of the inverted head and shoulders. It seemed the pertinent thing to do, but I just don't anticipate that this is going to be the runaway bull. I think this is going to be plenty of opportunities to get on the leverage trading in and on and off the bus. And I wouldn't be too lazy and just get on and expect everything to be all monodirectional. Even in this bear market move, remember you had that big spike. In a similar way, over here, there can be, maybe if we run these crop of targets, there can be some down moves and all of that. So I think it's largely going to worm its way up in a series of up moves with some counter push. So it's not going to be one-sided mooning. This is going to be a frustrating kind of mini echo bull. This is an echo bull to the previous bull, which in of itself is an echo bull to the big cycle all the way to 2017 highs. So it's really a different scale. It's just a different scale. So you're weaseling your way up here. And in these lower volatility markets where you've got a small tilt of the hat in direction, that's fine. But it's not going to be the place of unheralded mega gains unless you're taking money management risks you shouldn't, which we're not interested in at all. So we cut our cloth according to what the market is giving us. And for now, it's giving us an incremental move to the upside. I've said before, and I'll say again, that my anticipation is that it's going to make it up into around the 10 to 12k level. So I would say, yeah, somewhere around there. It could just go to the 10. It could do even lower, could go close to the 12, but those are where I see things going in terms of this as a move. And it's just not going to be super easy. It could be one-sided and can be taken back. And there could, at any time, be just that slap back here and a retest of these lows. So don't see this as a fait accompli just because I'm drawing it like that. Could have, just a pushback. The support that is here is substantial, and this just might be an initial push away, but it might get tested again. So it's not the highest probability, it's not the strongest, it's not going to be unequivocally, it's not going to ever make you feel super comfortable. And that's okay. That's why we talk about the shoot and scooting. Be quick and be in and be out, and you're getting the upside, small time frame patterns that may make targets. I wouldn't take downside patterns because I've got a bull bias here, so we are on a bull bias generally, and we have felt for a while that the 6k points will be a key point where there's likely to be some holding of the line and potential. So for now, this is still a potential low 2 as we've suggested it may well be. And I'd say, we're 55% that, maybe 60% that's the case. But it wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world for it to be, equaled or for something like that. It's quite possible. But broadly, in this dollar environment, I'm expecting upside move more than down. And then it's now going to become to a question is how high do we go before we calm and ease back. That's in essence where we're at. Now the key moment is that the channel was broken. So officially you've probably had your first clear-cut indicator, apart from the inverted head and shoulders that was created and triggered. Apart from the fact that we've been peeling away from the lower channel level for a while like that, but we did the same here. That is not a guarantee. It's the first time we've closed above that higher line, and I can once again just put it on there as a reminder for you how it looks. So that will have a lot of people thinking, yay, that's the bear period done. careful about being too aggressive on that one. It can have a stuttering start. I don't think this is going to be, as I've said, the most convincing. So that's pretty much it. Just thought I'd give you an update. Something else just regarding the comments. Some of you saying, oh, why do you bother answering those people from the previous YouTube and all of that? I'm not hassled, and I don't need to answer anybody, especially if they're showing at a low level of response. The reason I comment on some people's comments is that those people at that lower resonating energy, we've been there and we have that still within all of us. And I refer to those kind of comments is because there's a little bit of those people in all of us. And it's the lesson that we need to be reminding. We need to be reminded what the lowest common denominator looks like and says, so that we avoid being that. Part of becoming successful in any of your trading is knowing thyself, going the journey. You know, we're doing a lot right now on our content. Small flash of a diagram. You know, you've got to have your values aligned. You've got to be in peak performance traders mindset, and you've got to be in good biology. And you've got to have the overlap of all three of those things to not blow your account up. You know, you have a bigger reason why you are trading, apart from I just feel like to make some money and need the excitement. You've got to be doing it for family and beyond when your life is even done. And that gives you meaning. It associates your greater meaning and your greater self-actualization to the activity, and it makes you feel more serious about not just shooting from the hip and being, what the hell, this is just a game, just some crap game where you roll in the dice. It isn't like that. You've got to move out of that. You've got to develop the peak performance trader's mindset and how you deal with uncertainty, because uncertainty provokes fear. That's your amygdala brain. It's there to save you. So anything that's uncertain or is probability orientated brings a fear reflex, when in actual fact it's opportunity as well. But the mental negativity assessment machine that is your brain, that's designed like that to protect you from the saber-toothed tiger. You need to break those associations and all the patterns that go with it. In fact, you're not even your thoughts. Your thoughts are just a couple of templates that you've organized for dealing for your fears. And you need to rewire those. So, you know, becoming successful is a long endeavor that requires quite a bit of work. And you've got to deal with your biology, your emotions. Every thought has an emotion and is seeded in that emotion. And your emotion is dictated also by biology. If you're tired, you've got tons of caffeine in you, or you're sick, or you're unwell. I've blown accounts when I was younger. Often when I was in a poor state, I got reckless and I didn't care and what the hell, and you know, that kind of thinking. You just can't be going close to trading when you're like that. These are the key elements that content-wise we're bringing to help make people more consciously aware, and how you can change that. How do you become more mindful? How do you become more aware? And I'm not just going to say, oh, go do a meditation course or that. I mean, there's practical things you can do. Now, when you see people who are commenting in YouTube Tube's comments like that, you have to recognize where they're at. We're not for them at that in their development curve. They need to go somewhere else and have other experiences, and maybe bump their head a little bit more, and then earn some humility. We all need to earn some humility. I hope not to come and lose my sense of humility on this channel. If we say we've made money, it's because we have, and we've lost money many times too. If we say we've been accurate on something, believe you me, for everyone we've been accurate, we've been inaccurate too. There's a difference in terms of what you market and what your message is that you want people to understand as a thrust that has an attraction to it, versus also just being utterly forthright about what it is we're doing here. This is a good little move. The people that react badly aren't ready for the message on this channel. They should go away and follow something else until they get sick of being pushed away from certain scenes, and they realize, why am I provoking that response? And they need to go through that thought process why they do it. And each one of us occasionally, when somebody seems like he's in flow with the market, we want to bring them down, or we want to lift someone up who's out of flow. It depends. There's a great tendency for us all to want to to project. And when I highlight these comments, if you get a batch of comments, because I was quite a belligerent YouTube that I did it intentionally. Somebody said it was the full moon. I quite like that. I was a lunatic at the time. I had lost my sense of mind. Yes, I had, supposedly. But anyway, the point is, those folk need to recognize that it's not about being accurate or wrong in that 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's about what is the primary bias. You can't get every minor detail right. It's an impossibility. And this is what's happening right now with... I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen on here. I can tell you that it's broken out the channel, and that for now the channel that was established as a bearish down leg has been cleared, and that is a bullish event. I can also say it's still on target. It's made my conservative inverted head and shoulders draw, and there's potential to make the more aggressive one. But I can also warn you that it's not all just ripping and at the races. It's very low volume. Go back to the volume discussion. That's why I bring you back up to these big time frames. This is not boom time. Compare that mountain and that capitulation low, and even these, you saw how much smaller it was even to this. So this is already beginning the boring out process we warned you of. Low activity. Jesus, trying to move. Bitfinex is still one of the biggest. Trying to move any kind of Bitcoin volume there. It's just not the volume. All the guys got killed, and the rest are hodling, in this bear market. There's few people to trade against. You've got to really tiptoe around. That's why we're using the derived platforms as well. It's easier to move some liquidity in those markets like BitMEX. So, it tells me something. But it also means that people aren't highly engaged right now at an extreme level. So that means, it's a little seedling in spring. That's probably what it is. But it can be stood on, and it can have an interesting path. So I'm expecting bias upside, but it's going to be a windy little path up there, and it'll be drawn out, and it'll be quite low volatility, and the volume is not going to meet the volume nor the liquidity on the exchanges that you had at this high 2, and certainly not of that high 1. So each session, so it's an echo of the previous echo. Here's where we're at. Okay, so I thought I'd just give you that. It's bullish. It's great that it's out the channel, but be conservatively so, bias to the upside. Our view for where the highest point might tap out is going to be somewhere between the 10 and the 12.5 K, and it's going to be a slow, windy road, in my view. And I would bias more to the 10.5, 11s for that. Remember also that whilst you almost made 14, it was for a very short time on the RH2 here. Very short time. There's not much volume that occurred in that block of trade. So here's where you kind of already had some degree of trade that occurred in the double digits, roughly in that block. So to make a high that's somewhere in that block seems about right for me. Seems about right, from the 10 to the 12, best somewhere in the middle there. And it doesn't need to be quick. It's not in a rush. It doesn't have to be in a rush. There's also the dollar that should be discussed. Been soft after a terrible non-farm. But this is more about Bitcoin DNA. Remember, Bitcoin was late following gold and silver, but now gold and silver is a bit correcting still. And Bitcoin is just playing a little bit of catch up. They're both anti-fiat categories. We were one of the first to say that. So they will have their day, often coinciding. But sometimes if one has just got a bit of a hangover, he's a little bit slower out the blocks. But then once he gets going, he might run a little longer. And I feel Bitcoin's a little bit like that at the moment. Precious metals may have a longer wait than people are prepared to accept. So we'll have to see. We're going to have to see what's happening on the fiat front and the repo QE and all the other nonsense that the cartel is pulling here. Okay, so without further ado, when we see other people's reactions, remember, it's just an opportunity to comment on feelings we may have had ourselves, but that we bit our bottom lip for and showed some restraint on. And that's why I comment on them, especially if they're all of a meme. I don't they have no bearing on me and my tendency to do YouTubes and how I do them. I'm not emotionally upset or undermined or sensitive in any way with regards to that. Okay, book for a call and we will see you. And you can become part of our community and you could have taken some funds out of this market. The links are below. If you are just learning and you haven't got money, grab the mini series. Just have a little wee watch. We also have a self-study program at a lower price point where you can just lock yourself up in a cave and watch movies. Okay, see you all later. Enjoy yourselves. Bitcoin moderate bull on mild volume. Understand what that means. That means it's all subject to change if it needs to be. Okay, thanks. Bye for now.